Forget Elon Musk, forget Jeff Bezos. To find the wealthiest person to ever walk the earth, we have to travel back 700 years to the heart of the Mali Empire. Meet Mansa Musa, a king so rich that his personal spending once crashed the entire economy of Egypt. He didn't just have gold, he had so much of it that history literally couldn't keep count. Today, we're stepping into the golden age of the man who remains, quite simply, the richest king in history.
What if I told you there was a man so rich he broke an entire country's economy? Just by being generous? Cairo, 1324. The wealthiest city in the Mediterranean world wakes up to find a stranger at its gates. Not an invader, not a conqueror, a pilgrim. But this pilgrim brought something Cairo had never seen before. 60,000 people, 80 camels. Each one was loaded with 300 pounds of pure gold. The ruler handed out so much wealth in the streets that gold itself became worthless overnight. His name was Mansa Musa. And for the next 10 minutes, you're about to discover why this African emperor, who you've probably never heard of, was the richest human being who has ever lived. Not the richest African, not the richest of his time, the richest person in all of human history. This is his story, and it's going to change everything you thought you knew about medieval Africa. The year is 1312. While Europe struggles through civil wars and the tail end of the medieval period, in West Africa, Mansa Musa ascends to the throne of the Mali Empire. But this wasn't just any kingdom. This was an empire that stretched from the Atlantic Ocean to the edges of the Sahara Desert, covering an area larger than Western Europe. The secret to Mali's power? Geography. The empire sat at the crossroads of three critical resources: gold mines in the south at Bambouk and Boura, salt mines in the north at Tagaza, and the Niger River flowing right through the middle, Africa's ancient highway. While Europe minted coins from African gold without even knowing where it came from, Mansa Musa controlled the source. But here's what made Mali truly extraordinary. It wasn't about hoarding wealth. The empire thrived on trade. Caravans with 5,000 to 10,000 camels would cross the Sahara, carrying salt north and gold south. In some markets, salt and gold were traded pound for pound. That's how valuable salt was for preserving food in the scorching West African heat. When Musa took the throne, possibly as a young man in his 20s, he inherited this golden machine. But he didn't just maintain it. He had a vision that would transform Mali from a wealthy kingdom into a legendary empire that would echo through the centuries. In 1324, in the 17th year of his reign, Mansa Musa decided to fulfill every Muslim's dream: the Hajj, the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca. But this wasn't going to be a quiet, spiritual journey. This was going to be a statement. Picture this: 60,000 people, 12,000 of them enslaved servants dressed in fine Persian silk and brocade, 500 servants walking ahead of the emperor, each carrying a solid gold staff weighing 6 pounds, 80 to 100 camels, and here's the insane part: each camel carried 300 pounds of pure gold. Do the math. That's up to 30,000 pounds of gold moving across the Sahara. The journey covered at least 6,000 miles. Every Friday along the route, Mansa Musa commissioned a new mosque to be built. Every town they passed through, he distributed gold to the poor, to scholars, to anyone who asked. This wasn't just generosity. This was diplomacy, faith, and spectacle rolled into one golden caravan. Then they reached Cairo in July 1324. The Sultan of Egypt himself came out to meet this mysterious king from the African interior. Mansa Musa gifted the Sultan 50,000 gold dinars just as a greeting present. For 3 months, his entourage stayed in Cairo, and what happened next would be studied by economists for centuries. Mansa Musa and his people spent gold everywhere. They bought everything: Spices, fabrics, souvenirs, food for 60,000 people. They gave gold away in the streets. The merchants of Cairo couldn't believe their luck. They raised their prices higher and higher, knowing these wealthy West Africans would pay anything. But then something unprecedented happened. There was so much gold flooding into Cairo's economy that gold itself became less valuable. The currency depreciated by 25%. Prices skyrocketed. This was inflation on a scale Cairo had never seen, caused by one man's generosity. The economic chaos lasted 12 years. Mansa Musa realized what he'd done. So he tried to fix it. He borrowed back gold from Egyptian moneylenders at a high interest rate, trying to take money out of circulation and stabilize the economy. Some historical sources say he never fully repaid these loans. Others say he eventually paid them back in one massive payment, which promptly crashed gold prices again. After Cairo, the caravan continued to Mecca. There, Mansa Musa didn't just pray, he networked. He met scholars, jurists, poets, and architects from across the Islamic world. One man in particular caught his attention: Abu al-Sahili, a brilliant architect and legal scholar from Andalusia in Muslim Spain. Musa convinced him to return to Mali, offering him wealth and the chance to build something extraordinary. When Mansa Musa returned to Mali in 1325, he came back changed. He'd seen the great universities of Cairo, the architectural wonders of Mecca, the intellectual vibrancy of the Islamic world. And he decided Mali would become all of that and more. His first target was Timbuktu, a city that had started as just a caravanserai, a rest stop for traders crossing the Sahara. Musa commissioned Abu al-Sahili to design and build two magnificent mosques, the Djingareba Mosque and later the expansion of the Sankor Mosque. But these weren't just places of worship. Sankor Mosque became the centerpiece of what we now call the University of Sankor, one of the world's first universities, founded in the 12th century and dramatically expanded under Mansa Musa's patronage. And here's what will blow your mind about medieval Timbuktu. At its peak in the 14th and 15th centuries, this city of 100,000 people had 25,000 students. Think about that ratio. 1 in 4 people was a student. Sankore wasn't structured like European universities with centralized administration. Instead, it was a network of independent scholars, each running their own school, teaching in mosque courtyards and private homes. But the level of scholarship? World class. Students studied Islamic law, medicine, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, Arabic literature, geography, even history, which wasn't typically taught anywhere else in the Islamic world at that time. The curriculum also included practical skills, business ethics, carpentry, farming, navigation. This was education that prepared you for life, not just theory. The book trade became one of Timbuktu's most profitable industries. When the traveler Leo Africanus visited in 1526, he wrote that books were sold for more money than any other merchandise. Scholars accumulated personal libraries with over 1,600 manuscripts each. By some estimates, Timbuktu's libraries eventually held between 400,000 and 700,000 manuscripts, rivaling the ancient library of Alexandria. The scholars of Sankor became so renowned that they were invited to teach at prestigious universities in Cairo and Morocco. The French scholar Félix Dubois wrote that Timbuktu's scholars yielded in nothing to the saints in their sojourns in foreign universities, and that they astounded the most learned men of Islam by their erudition. Before we continue with how this golden age shaped Africa's future, if you're enjoying this journey through Africa's incredible history, hit that like button and subscribe to Great Voice of Africa. We're committed to sharing the stories of African excellence, innovation, and achievement that the world needs to hear. And drop a comment. What aspect of Mansa Musa's reign surprises you most? So how did Mali maintain this wealth? How did one empire control such vast resources? The answer lies in the genius of Mansa Musa's administration. Musa divided his empire into provinces, each run by a governor he personally appointed. These governors collected taxes on every caravan that passed through Mali's territory. And remember, these caravans carried thousands of camels loaded with gold, salt, ivory, cola nuts, copper, and cloth. But here's the brilliant part. Musa never tried to directly control the gold mines in the south. Previous empires had failed trying to micromanage the miners. Instead, Musa established a tribute system. The miners operated independently, but paid tribute to the empire. The empire then taxed the traders who bought the gold. This laissez-faire approach, unusual for medieval empires, kept everyone happy and the gold flowing. Musa also expanded the empire militarily. While he was on his pilgrimage, his general Sagmandia captured the Songhai capital of Gao, adding hundreds more miles to Mali's territory. When Musa returned, he personally traveled to Gao, building mosques and public buildings there, integrating it into his empire, not just through conquest, but through culture and faith. The pilgrimage had established diplomatic relationships too. Egyptian merchants, impressed by Mali's wealth, invested in the empire. Arab states sent ambassadors. Mali wasn't isolated, it was connected to the Mediterranean world, to the Middle East, to the broader Islamic civilization. Mansa Musa had put Mali on the world map, literally. In 1375, Spanish cartographers created the Catalan Atlas, one of the most important maps of the medieval world. And there, dominating the illustration of West Africa, sits Mansa Musa on his throne, holding a gold nugget in one hand and a golden scepter in the other. The caption reads, "This is the richest and most noble king in all the land." Mansa Musa ruled Mali for 25 years, dying sometime between 1332 and 1337. He never made it back to Mecca as he'd planned, but the impact of his reign echoed for centuries. By today's standards, historians estimate his wealth at around $400 billion, though some argue there's simply no way to put an accurate number on it. He controlled resources on a scale that makes modern billionaires look modest by comparison. After his death, Mali remained powerful under his successors, though none matched his vision or impact. The Golden Age continued through the 15th century, but in 1591, a Moroccan invasion devastated Timbuktu, scattering its scholars and destroying countless manuscripts. Yet even then, the legacy endured. Today, hundreds of thousands of those ancient manuscripts survive in private libraries across Mali, being painstakingly preserved and studied. They contain poetry, science, mathematics, history, proof of an intellectual tradition that thrived when Europe was still centuries away from its renaissance. Mansa Musa's story destroys the myth that Africa lacked civilization, wealth, or learning. Here was an empire that stretched across thousands of miles, with universities that rivaled anything in the medieval world, with wealth that literally changed the global economy, with trade networks that connected 3 continents. This is African history. This is the greatness that deserves to be told, celebrated, and remembered. If this story inspired you, if it made you see Africa's past in a new light, please share this video. Subscribe to Great Voice of Africa for more stories of African excellence. Let's make sure these stories reach every corner of the world. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our journeys through Africa's incredible history, culture, and achievements. From ancient empires to modern innovation, we're here to amplify the great voice of Africa. Thank you for watching. Until next time, remember, Africa's story is humanity's story, and it's far richer than you were ever taught.